look, officially this is headed to Delaware court. Does anybody win in this scenario, no matter what happens?
Definitely the lawyers win. The lawyers are excited when they describe a case as being unprecedented and complicated. That's definitely code for there's going to be unprecedented legal fees. So they're set. Everyone else is a loser in this for sure. Elon has shown he can't be trusted to execute a signed deal. The board has shown that they have no confidence in the long-term future of the company and are now going to Delaware to consummate a transaction with a bad faith actor. And the employees are left in limbo wondering what the future of the company will hold.
So, look, last week when this happened, Brett Taylor, the chairman of Twitter boards, said that, they're committed to closing the transaction. They plan to pursue legal action. Now here we are seeing them pursue this legal action. Then you had Ev Williams getting into the fray. And obviously, I know you and Ev worked very closely together in those early days, responding to Brett, saying, I'm sure there are legal and fiduciary reasons you have to say that. But if I was still on the board, I'd be asking if we can just let this whole ugly episode blow over. Hopefully that's the plan, and this is ceremony. What do you think the plan actually is? And is this ceremony?
No, I mean, at this point, the board has to sue and try to get the agreement agreed to enforced. Like they have no choice as fiduciaries to do anything but that. I think what Ev is expressing what I agree as well is that I wish the board had more insight at the beginning of this to realize that they were dealing with someone who just wasn't serious and didn't have a real plan for what to do with the company. And instead, led by Jack, they kind of became besotted with this idea of Elon owning the company. And the first step of avoiding a trap is knowing that it's there. And the board just simply didn't realize that they were walking into one and striking a deal with Elon in the first place.
So why do you think Elon actually did this in the first place? There was one venture capitalist who pointed to the idea that he just wanted to sell some Tesla stock. What do you think the real motivation was?
I think he enjoys using Twitter and is addicted to the service and thought for a while it would be fun to own it. I also think if you look at the proxy filing statement that Twitter filed on the deal, that they had a signed agreement to just get Elon on the board and have a standstill agreement where you would own no more than 15% of the company. And then he had a conversation with Jack on the same day that agreement was announced, and it quickly pivoted to, I should just own the company as a whole. I think that's one of the reasons why this deal is also likely to settle, is that there's probably a lot of conversations between Elon and the company in the agreement phase that they don't want to come out in discovery. And so this is something that ultimately I don't think will be decided by the courts, but will be decided in a settlement between lawyers.
Okay, but I wonder how this plays out. If Elon Musk still ends up having to hold up his end of the deal and Twitter, quote unquote, wins, is that good for anyone?
No, it's not good for anyone. It's not good for Twitter if Elon ends up owning the company, because he doesn't have a real plan for what he wants to do with it. He's revealed that over time. It's also worth noting that there were any number of Silicon Valley luminaries that lined up behind Elon owning the company and pledged to be equity partners. Whether that's Andreessen Horowitz or Sequoia or DFJ or Free Speech Advocate, the Qatar Sovereign Wealth Fund. All of those folks have gone remarkably silent in terms of their belief in Elon as the ultimate owner of this company, because in his conversations, he showed he wasn't serious about what he would do with it. So Elon owning it isn't good. A settlement is unlikely to equal any amount of value that equals the damage done. And the real problem is that there's actual employees who want to make a better product and want to make the company better for the future, but they just don't have the leadership that will enable them to do that.
Let's be clear. I mean, there are so many users, including Elon Musk, who love Twitter, love using Twitter. But, Twitter over so many years just hasn't been able to parlay that into a significantly bigger business. What would your plan be to increase engagement, to drive more revenue, to increase the number of users?
Well, let's be clear. I'm not here auditioning for any job at Twitter. I think what the board needs to do at the end of this juncture is find new leadership. That's not a job I'm auditioning for. I think they need to do is look at users that have found tremendous value from it and build engagement around it. I don't think that the company is one silver bullet away or one feature away from fixing the trajectory that it's on. But it's obviously something that's always had cultural value and cultural resonance. And it's something that I think continues to play a role in global politics and the global conversation. One point on that is we've spent months arguing what Elon has meant about free speech online, and he's slowly evolved that viewpoint from just mean anything to comply with legal requirements of local regimes. In the meantime, while we've been debating, trying to tease out any meaning from what Elon's position on free speech is, Twitter is actually in court in India trying to push back on an authoritarian creep into free speech laws in that country. And so there's actual real stakes at play here, and the company is fighting good fights around the world. It's just that they're having to do so now under this cloud of Elon's acquisition.